Happy Devils Wednesday. This is the State of the Fan Address, episode 142, titled Devils Reset Button Pressed. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Pucks and Pitchforks blog editor-in-chief Nick Villano, streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Primetime Radio Network. As the game is going on right now, Nick, we don't take a shift off. We don't stop the coverage, even through a pause. But I have to tell you, the reset button has been pressed. And do you see a difference so far with the small sample size up in Buffalo?
I did in the first period, but then the Devils played one of the worst starts to a period I've ever seen all season long. So I guess not. The power play looks better. Jack Hughes is trying, so that's nice. Ryan Graves is brought out a much better Dougie Hamilton this game, but you still see mistakes that turn into just long possessions by the other team, and I don't know what the fix is. You're allowed to have lapses, and you're allowed to, like, even the Lightning, the Lightning had to score with 20 seconds left in the game last night to take the Canadiens to overtime, but they also didn't have Andrei Vasilevsky in that. So, I get the best teams make mistakes, but the Devils just do it constantly, and they just keep making the same mistakes. Like, letting Tage Thompson go on a what's it called? A breakaway, not acceptable. And then almost letting it happen like 3 minutes later. They almost allowed another breakaway. The pass was just not on the stick. I don't know. They mentioned.
I'll sum it up like this. When it became 2-2, and I don't want to get too much into the game, just generally speaking. When I saw Marian Studenic flop on the ice like Randy flopping in the snow in A Christmas Story and turning over that puck, that's all I needed to see. After, it's the inconsistency is the only thing that they've been consistent all season long. You just don't know what team you're going to get any given period, any given minute at this point. So, but that's what Tom Fitzgerald says. It's the guys in the room. They got to play for each other. The guy in front of you, the guy next to you, the guy behind you. You got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's what he basically has told them as the reset button has been pressed. We were all expecting the same old stuff, but, you only hope, because I think a lot of us had the Benji optimism after the first period. But enough of the game. There's a lot of things to talk about, Devils-wise, World Juniors-wise, prospect-wise, everything that's gone on around the world. I don't know where to begin, Nick.
We could start with the World Juniors. That's kind of like the big talker right now. So the World Juniors got canceled today. I wrote an article not knowing that there's a possibility it could be rescheduled for, I guess, like April or May or June or something like that. I even saw somebody talk about July being discussed, which would seem weird. I don't know. Like, obviously, this is all very preliminary, so I don't know what the implications of whether, Alexander Holtz would still be eligible and whether, like who would be available? Like, would like a Luke Hughes even want to play after his first college hockey season? You know what I mean? Like, there's so many different variables to that. So let's assume that that's not happening, right? Let's assume because, like for example, Alex Holtz turns 20 in January, so he would no longer be under 20 in any other month. This was the only time that he had a chance to play in the World Juniors, or to play in the World Juniors again. I think that really hurts Holtz especially. Mukhamadullin was somebody who was playing better, but that Russia team was just a mess. So there were some weird implications there that he might not get the progression that we were hoping for from him, just because he had to do a little bit of everything. And sometimes that does help. Sometimes it does help to be the guy. Askarov didn't have really a good start to the tournament, and the rest of that defense was just getting demolished. So having to like carry the load for an entire country might be good for Mukhamadullin, but it was really like the Holtz part of this is what we were really looking at. Holtz and Hughes were the two things we were really looking at. And then once Team USA went under protocols, that we were really focusing on Holtz, and he had a good start to the tournament. He had a goal and assist in that first game, and the goal was pretty. The assist was actually probably prettier. That pass was wonderful. And then he had a decent second game. He didn't score, but he looked good. And this was going to be a coming out party for Holtz after he had just a disastrous 2020 World or 2021 World Juniors. So losing him in this tournament, it really kind of throws things off. You know what I mean? Like it really kind of just changes what I expect from Holtz's season. I thought he could build off the momentum of the World Juniors and make it to the NHL within a month. Like I thought it was gonna light a fire under his what, and he was just gonna come out firing in the AHL because he looks a little. What's the right word? He just looks a little like going through the motions sometimes in the AHL. Just kind of like sometimes it comes too easy to him, so he kind of takes a step back because he can. And then, he has to ramp it up sometimes. And Utica's not playing, that's another thing is Utica had to cancel another game for, I think, tomorrow's game because they're still under COVID protocol. So Utica's not been able to play. Utica's the best thing going for the Devils right now. And they haven't been able to play. So, that's another thing that's top of the news. COVID is just, it's still a thing. There's going to be variants every so often. Hopefully, this one seems to be less bad, I guess. I don't know. Less people are dying, so that's good. So, hopefully we can kind of get a handle on these things from here on out. But it's just bad timing. It's really bad timing for the world and really bad timing for hockey. So focusing on the hockey side of things, it's just it stinks. It does. I would hope if they do another tournament, they kind of let everybody in. But then again, if you're the Devils, are you letting him go again? You know what I mean? Like, are you letting him go a second time? Are you letting him go in? Let's say it happens in April. Are you letting him go then when it's that's the end of the season for the AHL, the playoffs. The Utica looks like a lock to make the playoffs this year. Are you going to let him go and miss the AHL playoffs? You're not, right? Like you probably think
no, you wouldn't do that.
If you're Fitzgerald, you're thinking, well, or in Deneen, you're sitting there saying, no, I want my most talented player here for the playoffs. I'll run like you got to think of it from a what is it, a risk value standpoint or a cost value standpoint? One of those business terms where I can, maybe my prize prospect is a little bit upset with me because I don't let him represent Sweden, even though I did early in the season. But think about what a deep run in the playoffs does for all of those prospects. The Nolan Foots, the Nico Dodds, the Akira Schmids, the Kevin Ball and Riley Walsh. And, you go down the list, Fabian Zetterlund. And what is a long playoff, that kind of atmosphere every single night going to do for those players, including Holtz? It's not like Holtz is going to get nothing out of this. Like a playoff atmosphere is important for these players. So it just really puts everybody in a kind of a weird situation. And the spotlight now is on the Olympics. Brad Marchand came out and said that players should be able to choose whether they go to the Olympics or not. It's not for me to say which way, one way or the other. I think that, that's basically like not making any change at all, right? Wasn't it the player's decision before to go to the Olympics or not? So he has to be, maybe this is where, so I think Donald Fair is, I think more players are kind of upset with Donald Fair They have been a long time. With the decisions he seems to be making and the agreements he's making with the NHL, it's been a whirlwind. We've been off for 10 days. The Devils have. We haven't. The Devils have been off for 10 days. And we we're making sure we're getting podcast done in a hotel room and at
Oh
Taj
yeah, I forgot
973.
about that. Oh, I'm glad you made it home safe.
I did. I'm here. I avoided
Forgot about that.
all of the craziness. It was a weird trip. New Jersey's interesting, but it's New Jersey. We enjoy it. I had pizza, and that's all I cared about. Was having pizza. We had bagels for 4 days in a row, so it was great. I enjoyed it, but just back to the kind of like I think that I'm really most upset about what I was going to see Hughes do, because I'm still not sure when Mukhamadulin's coming to North America. I know he signed this year. I think they're going to keep him in Russia one more year. I think Russia is going to try to keep him in Russia for one more year. He's on that UFA team. That's not really like a big team in the KHL, but it's still a professional team. He's playing against men, as they say. So I think that I was really just excited to see if this could propel Holtz to a new stratosphere. I know it won't, and I don't know what's next for him. He's the one that I just don't know. That's why I was trying to write about all the prospects, but I think I'm going to write a different piece just on Holtz, just because it really just impacts him a lot. Like this decision, like just taking that away from him when he didn't know if he was going to get it. Then it's like if your dad tells you he's going to take you to Disney World, and then 2 days before you guys are getting on a plane, he changes his mind. You know what I mean? And like you didn't do anything wrong. Sure, we've all been there. Not the Disney World thing, but where your parents make a decision when you were a kid and pull the rug from under you, and it's more devastating than never having it at all. So I'm curious what this is going to do for that kid, for Alexander Holtz, and how he's going to bounce back from this. Is he going to maybe this lights a fire under him, and he's going to play with piss and vinegar, and just trying to be the eater of worlds and light everything on fire, as he goes through AHL arenas before making it to the NHL. That'd be great. I think it's much more likely that he's upset about this, and it's just kind of like, I don't want to say woe is me, but going through the motions a little bit while they get through this, and we see 80% of the best of Alex Holtz for the rest of the season, which is still pretty good, but it's not. I thought there was a slim possibility in the NHL. I thought there was a good possibility that he could go in the AHL and just destroy everyone. So we'll see.
Yeah. From the small sample size I got to see of the World Juniors, it's a shame. I wanted to see more of Luke Hughes on the world stage. 13 minutes. I wanted to see more of Muhammadulin. I saw enough to make me happy and understand why Tom Fitzgerald picked him at that 20th overall.
Yeah.
Is he going to be the next Chara? No. But I think he could be
gain like 100 pounds to be the next Chara.
Yeah. But you know what? A lot of it's so hard to scout with World Juniors, right? You could see the potential there. Simon Edvinson was just freaking on fire throughout the tournament. It made me question about the Hughes pick a little bit. But you know what? At the same time, what's done is done. But I think Hughes is the real deal. It's just a matter of letting him go through the process. He maybe another year at Michigan, maybe another 2 years at Michigan would help. Also putting him in situations, big minute situations where he is the guy. Right now, he's just not the guy right now. Owen Power in Michigan is the guy. Jake Sanderson is the guy right now in World Juniors.
He's also one of the youngest players on Team USA. He might be the youngest player on Team USA. He is a ripe 18 years old, turned 18 in September. So
Yeah.
he's and he's looked pretty phenomenal at times at Michigan. He's one of the most talented players in college hockey. Like is he more talented than Owen Power? Probably not. But he's close, and he's close to a lot of the best players in college hockey, and he was close. When it comes to pure talent, I'm not talking about the entire spectrum of his game, but when I'm just speaking on the talent, Luke Hughes is right up there with everybody. I think he has as much talent as his brother. He's just younger when he got drafted, and he needs more seasoning, and he's played a different position, obviously, but he can handle the puck just so smoothly, and he has such great offensive instincts, which is some of the things that make Jack Hughes one of the greatest talents on earth. So I see Jack Hughes playing tonight. I see just how he just continues to. He can skate through anybody, and I know this Sabres team isn't that good. So I want to take it with a grain of salt, but just look at him and see what he's doing every single shift. He's making an impact every single shift, and the second the puck hits his stick, he makes something happen. I still need him to get line mates. That's going to be the biggest question the Devils have to answer this season. Who do you play with Jack Hughes? And the obvious thing is to get him shooters, right? Igor Sharangovich, Alex Holtz when he comes up, Tomas Tatar when he comes off protocols. Those seem like the obvious ones, but I'm seeing him go into the zone alone a lot. And having Jesper Bratt on his wing helps because Jesper Bratt has that similar speed that he could kind of keep up with him, especially, even short burst speed. In the zone, Jesper Bratt could keep up with Hughes, and it can kind of be on the same level as him. I and everybody I know has been a proponent of getting Bratt, Mercer, and Johnson to get back together. But I don't know. Now that I see Bratt with Hughes tonight, I think maybe that does make sense. I need a little bit more for Sharangovich, obviously. He needs to do better. I don't understand. I don't know what the fix is with Sharangovich. But that third winger, until Holtz is ready to go, that third winger or that second winger on the Hughes line is a hole. It's a big hole. And I think that the thought is maybe they wanted to fill that with somebody like Vladimir Tarasenko or somebody like Patrick Laine. Somebody who does have that supreme skill, but they didn't get that guy. The prices were too high in the offseason. I think the prices might still be high. So I don't think that that's going to happen this year. So you kind of have to fill it with what you have. And what you have is Sharangovich. What you have is Holtz, if you want to bring him up. What you have is Tatar.
Big decisions for Tom Fitzgerald. I think they're going to be sellers on the. Well,
you're talking about the trade market. Sorry.
Yeah, because the Devils are obviously going to be sellers. They're not going to be buying. And right now,
what's there to sell?
Again, well, you could sell PK Subban's potential, and I don't know, 4 months left on his contract. Yeah, VC possibly. But what can you get back? What's the flip here? Right now, with all this uncertainty, I thought in 2020, the Devils, with their 3 first-round picks, I thought the whole lottery system was just bogus, right? They didn't make the cut by, a point or whatever?
Yeah, something like that, a point or two.
The top 24, because they lost the last game of the season in 2020 to the Penguins. They were the 7 outcasts, but somehow the Rangers get the first overall pick, and then the Devils get number 7, Alexander Holtz, Not that I'm not unhappy with the pick. I'm just kind of really just, yeah, Dawson Mercer to an extent kind of, hides the anger, but it's just, it's frustrating. I know Devils fans are frustrated. I'm
Mm-hmm.
frustrated. Uh, I want things to happen soon, quickly, but when you hear Tom Fitzgerald basically say, "Look, it's the guys in the room. I have confidence in everybody." I think he's pulling the same mistake that Ray Shero did by holding on too long. We haven't seen anything yet. And all we've heard are COVID excuses, bad luck excuses, and we're painted a rosy picture of what the future is going to look like. We see glimpses. As soon as we see a glimpse, we get on the Benji high and optimism, only to get disappointed and crash to the ground. Steve Tardis in the Facebook group, Let's Go Devils, was all pumped up after the first 10, 20 minutes of the game. And I said, give it another 20 minutes. And it only took about 3 minutes after I said that for all come down crashing. Now, I'm not a negative fan. I'm just being realistic right now. I just think this team really needs a nice kick in the pants, and they need leadership from above. And I'm talking about ownership. They need pressure. They need non-softball questions during press conferences. They need the pressure to win now. Because if you don't have that pressure now, how am I going to expect this team to learn how to win in a couple years from now when there's no urgency right now to win? There should be a red line. There should be a deadline when this is all supposed to come together. I'm not saying blow it up. What I'm saying is what's lacking here is accountability throughout the entire organization. But right now, Tom Fitzgerald has it on the kids in the room. Really? That's all I'm saying.
And I agree with most of that. I do. I've said this so many times this year. I'm starting to get blue in the face. I don't know what the fix is. I don't know how you look at the situation and say, I think that we have to do nothing. I think that you had to do something to send some kind of message. And we talked about this with Chico, before the Devils played the Knights and blew that game too. And Chico agreed. Chico says, you got to do something. Send Ty Smith down to Utica or make a trade. Or, he didn't say fire a coach, but that's definitely on the list of things to do. And yeah. I'm not, I would say that at some point you probably should have sent Ty Smith down to Utica just to send that message that mediocrity was unacceptable. They didn't make that move, and Smith looks a little bit better, I think, tonight. I'd have to really look deep into the numbers. I haven't noticed him making any major mistakes, and it seems to be the Severson-Siegenthaler line, which is surprising. I know they were on the ice for the tipped goal. I don't remember who was on the ice for the breakaway goal at this point, but they're the line that's leaving me with much to be desired as far as the defensive pairings. And you got a full defense for the first time in a long time. I wrote about this, and it's going to come out tomorrow morning, about Ryan Graves and how since he left the lineup, the defense has been just atrocious. And Subban's also been out of the lineup. So, you got the 1-2 punch, but Ball just did not play well. And Hamilton has been playing bad since Graves left the lineup. He was about slightly above average with Ty Smith, but he was atrocious with Ball. They just, I don't know if it was a bad chemistry pairing or if it was just a major issue with just their, I think what happened is that Hamilton's not the type of player that should be thinking about the mistakes of his partner, because that's all he'll think about, and he'll change the way he plays his game.
Too much on his plate.
he'll change his aggressiveness. He'll change the decisions he makes based on not wanting a mistake by him to get magnified by his partner not being able to make up for it. Graves can make up for it, and Hamilton can make up. Oh, Hughes just scored, so he just took the lead. Thank goodness for small miracles, guys. So that's exciting.
Give
Everybody's
it 5
looking around,
minutes. Give it 5 minutes. They'll fall asleep.
I just got.
Say it.
Everybody was looking around, but everybody's looking up. I don't know why. I'm very confused. Everybody's just looking up. Why is everybody looking up? What? I'm very confused, but whatever. It looks like a Jack Hughes goal from here. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see that. Excited to see the.
Maybe it's a BS offsides. Maybe his skate lace was hovering. Yeah, hovering over.
No, they started. Anyway. Well, they restarted play. They did the face-off, so it's a good goal. So at least and that's the third point from Jack Hughes tonight. Jack Hughes is a monster among men right now, and he's just destroying everybody. I think he just went up against Rasmus Dahlin, another former first overall pick defenseman, and he won the battle, got the shot off, and put it over the Buffalo goaltender. And those are the kinds of things that you're going to need from Jack Hughes. You're going to need him at some point to just take over a game, and he's doing that tonight. He's got a point in every single Devils goal, I believe. I think he has 2 assists in a goal. And he's playing like the best player on the ice. And that's what I need from Jack Hughes.
But I don't think that solves the problem, though, Nick.
What problem are you looking to solve?
I would like the team concept and the consistency from everybody. You can't just rely on Jack Hughes to do it all. And by the way, you're playing Buffalo. Jack Hughes is not going to be able to take over a game against the Capitals or take over a game against the Lightning all by himself. But, it's a nice feel-good. I don't want to damper Devils fans, but getting back to they need to play that team concept. They need to play well defensively. They need to be more consistent. I think Siegenthaler, I like what he did in the first period. And he's been, I'm not expecting Siegenthaler and the rest of the guys to never give up a goal while they're on the ice. But you know what? I did see some improvements in the first period. And I did see some of the same old stuff in the second period. It's just what team are you going to get at any given moment? I think that's the problem I have.
Here's what I'm going to say about that. Like I said, I'm watching the Buffalo feed of this, and they brought up an interesting stat about how the Devils give up the 5th most zone entries in the league, and that kind of shows about when you talk, because I always have trouble with we don't have enough hits, so we're soft. Oh, we don't, whatever. I'm using the eye test to say we're soft. I'm like, well, that's a weird way to go about it. But when I see that zone entry stat, that's saying you're letting people in more than every team, but 26, but 5. There's only 4 teams in the entire league that let people into the zone more than you. I'm like, okay, that does say that you're playing a little soft. You kind of have to make it hard to play against. You know what team that reminds me of when I hear of hard to play against is that the 10 years ago New York Rangers. They would block all your shots. Every shot was hard to get through. And the Devils, the championship Devils were hard to play against. Every shot was hard to get. So it also on top of getting having trouble getting shots to the net, you also settled for worse shots because you just wanted to get the shot on the net. Devils scored again. So we're up 4-2. So that's good. But again,
give it another 5 minutes, Nick.
We want to reiterate it is against the Sabres. So once you play those harder to play against teams, you want to be hard to play against. If you're going to lose hard. Make it harder on the other team. And the Devils haven't done that at all. Like, they've been an easy team to play against every single night. And that's the thing you don't want to be. They are, though, they have exciting qualities about this team, but they got down in the dumps. And when you get down on your confidence, that's the big issue here, is that we're a team built on talent alone. And when the talented team loses its confidence, the talented team is bad. So that's the difference between a talented team and a good team. You know what I'm saying? Like, the talented team needs to prove themselves every night, because if they don't, then they're not a good team. But the talented team, although if they have like irrational confidence, then sometimes it works. The Jason Terry effect, if you will. But this team doesn't have that. This team has seen too much, and they've lost too much. And every time something goes a little bit downhill, you saw in that second period, if the Sabres were a better team, they would have been up 4-2 after that second period, because the Devils just didn't play well. Luckily, they're not, and they kept it tied, and the Devils were able to reset in the intermission. But they shouldn't need an intermission to reset. They should be able to reset on the bench. You know, and one thing that I think Ruff could be doing is calling more timeouts. Like, stop. Like, I hate that whole notion, save all your timeouts to the very end, because sometimes it's too late. Just call a timeout in the second period. I understand you only have one, and there's a possibility that you might want it later in the game, but tough cookies. Sometimes you got to reset the team, and sometimes you have to make those types of decisions. So, you know I went a little bit all over the place there, and it should be positive because we're up by two goals in the third period, but there's just a lot. There's a lot to be desired with this team. There's a lot more this team could be, and I feel like they keep getting, they got close in the beginning of the season, and then the second something went wrong, it snowballed. You know what I mean?
Yep. Getting back to your stat about the fifth
zone entries.
Yeah. I think that's attributed to Lindy Ruff. Reason why I say that, we've been watching Lindy Ruff's teams over the years. Let's start off with Buffalo, right? Relied on amazing goaltending from Dominik Hasek, that Buffalo team that went to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah.
Always transitional, even during, the clutch and grab days of the late 90s, mid-90s, early 2000s. His teams were always built on transition defense, and push the puck up the ice offensively. That's always
even
been
like
Lindy Ruff's teams.
Even the Danny Briere days, they were like that.
Well, that's the point I'm going to make.
Oh,
because
sorry. My bad.
once the NHL had a year-long lockout, the game changed overnight. The clutching grabbing stopped, right? There was an emphasis. I mean, they were making so many, asinine calls. They were making the refs call everything. If you remember, after that lockout, year-long lockout, also they took out the red line so you could push it up. And lo and behold, you have Thomas Vanek as a rookie, Chris Drury, and Danny Briere, one of the smaller guys, good hockey players, tough. One of the smaller guys suddenly have room to operate. And on that transition, they did very well for many years in Buffalo with, I think, Henrik Tolinder, all these guys that they had in Buffalo. Now, fast forward to now. For a while there, the Devils couldn't even make a pass once they got the puck. And on transition, excuse me. So whatever system Lindy Ruff is, it was like bits and pieces worked, and he's not even getting great goaltending from Mackenzie Blackwood consistently, or Bernier's out, whatever. So that's part of the reason of that big losing streaks. They only won one game in December. Hopefully they win two. But maybe that's part of the reason, based on that stat you just said. Lindy Ruff's teams have always been passive defensively. They're not going to waste your energy before you get into the zone. But the problem is they're just not getting the puck out of the zone for that transition, and they can't even make, for the most part, the last 6 weeks, not counting this game, a breakout pass.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, of course.
Yeah. I don't. I understand. I understand all this, and I feel bad because we were pretty negative for a podcast that's happening during a game that we're winning, but
yeah, but you know what? It's not. It's a humbling effect because the reality is, Nick, it's not that we're negative. We're just being realistic here. Okay.
Yeah.
The Devils will market the heck out of that. They just won one game, and once they win a couple other games, you're going to get the season ticket holder renewal, email to you and renew now button,
Yeah.
or we'll give you 2 weeks, or else you're not going to get an autographed Jack Hughes, hat, whatever,
Yeah.
And we're talking about real hockey conceptually. We're talking about what it takes to win. This is a good start. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm happy about it. But they're not going to win the Stanley Cup tomorrow. And they need to build upon these little victories and let it snowball into what we call a winning streak.
Yeah.
Like what they were doing in the beginning of the season.
You don't even need a huge winning streak. You need 3.
Yeah.
Get me 3 in a row, and then I'll be like, okay, maybe we have something here. Even if you win like 6 of 8, 6 of, I feel like it's asking a lot. Is that sad? But honestly,
come on, Nick, say it. I want 20 in a row.
No, if you get the 6 of 8, then you get 12 points in 8 games, and that'll put you. You're still not close to the playoffs. But maybe you're 4 points out now, and the problem is that there's one playoff spot available in the East already. We are, 12 points out from the Penguins, who have the second wild card. So it's I think 7 of the 8 spots are pretty much locked. And then I think we're 6 or 7 points away from Detroit for that other spot. I'd have to double check the standings. I could look them up right now, but so you have
some of the people.
One.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No. What are you gonna say?
No, continue with your thought. I was just gonna go to Facebook Live comments.
Oh, yeah. So Detroit has 33 points right now. They have the second wild card spot. We have 25. So we're 8 points out from Detroit. We are 14 points out from Pittsburgh for the second wild card spot. I don't see any chance you're making up 14 points. Even like this team has 51 games left after tonight. Like that's a huge chunk of the season. 14 points is just such an impossible situation. You know what I mean? Like that's just too many points.
Unless, of course, with COVID, we've seen stranger things happen. That's not the way to win, but I'm just saying it's still certainly possible, Nick, that they could, but the fundamentals aren't even there where I wouldn't even give them a chance to make that up. That's all I'm saying.
Are you talking about like a 2014 thing?
No, I'm talking about like actually getting a legitimate wild card spot. I think the Devils have a chance because there's so much time left in the season. It's 50-something games left, right? They're on game 31. But I just we haven't even seen the Devils put it all together for full 60 minutes for an entire month. Until that happens, they're not going to
I think that Flyers game was pretty close. That Flyers game was pretty close. They were really good against that Flyers, that one win they had in the last like 10 or whatever it was. That was
but that was the Flyers. I mean, heck.
Oh, I know. I know. The Flyers
you could have put a high school hockey team against them, and they would have done well.
Yeah. Well, we were a high school hockey team against them like a week later when we lost.
Yeah. Yeah. Once they figure things out, but I want to go to a couple things people are asking. is the Edmonton game going on Friday? I would say most likely. The issue really isn't so much teams coming here, it's playing in Canada. I think they postponed a lot of games in Canada. It just seems like they're postponing more because if I'm reading that correctly, Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, that the laws and regulations out there is no fans, and the NHL is saying, well, we'll postpone it then. Am I
I mean, I
reading
know
that correctly?
Montreal was like that. I don't know if they were all like that. Is it all of them? I know
I think
Montreal did no fans.
Winnipeg. I think Winnipeg is no fans. That's all I remember.
Okay.
I don't know. Each province is different. So let's not group them all into one. But Canada is a little bit different. That's the beauty of our game is we have two countries, but we have to respect what one's wishes are. But to get to the point about Edmonton in New Jersey, that so far as I know, that's going to be played unless there's something changes.
Yeah, I mean the schedule right now, it's on the schedule. It's scheduled to be played.
Yeah.
The game at Montreal, like the Devils don't play in Canada. Let me double check this.
Ray Leo says Winnipeg can only have 10%. Well, which is half of the population in Winnipeg.
Yeah, right.
It's not exactly a big city.
Tage Thompson just had another almost breakaway. So Tage Thompson's having himself a game, and his brother's not even playing tonight. The next time they play in Canada is January 15th at Montreal. So that one I would think is on the fence, right?
I think it's on the fence. Yep.
But then they go right to Toronto after that. So those two, I think the 15th and the 17th is what you're looking at. That might get weird, but then they don't go to Canada again until. It's March. Yeah, they don't go to Canada again until March when they have that Western Canadian trip where they play Calgary and Edmonton.
Yep.
So you got time. I don't want to get in the weeds on the virus, but I do have to read the data every day for my day job, and I'm not looking at a Delta-like issue where it's just constant pain and suffering. I think that they're Buffalo just scored, so that's 4-3 because pain is.
I told you to give it 20 minutes. I told you.
All right. Well, we should wrap up so you can get prepared for Devils After Dark. But yeah, I think without getting in the weeds on this stuff, let's just hope that all the science that we have so far on it is correct, and this is a short-lived situation. It's just a lot at once, and then we kind of get through it. And then we can get back to whatever normal life is at this point. So, but anyway, I got 2 articles coming out tomorrow. I'll have a third. I'm going to write one just based on whatever happens in this game. But I have one on Nathan Bastian on the power play, one on Ryan Graves being added to the lineup. I have one on World Juniors that is out right now. Luke Garrison wrote one on he kind of looked at the last 10 years of coaching and just kind of gave a grade to gave a grade to Hines and DeBoer and Ruff and Nasruddin and everybody. So that's out there now. And I had a little fun, Sam. I created 5 new awards that the NHL should give out every year that we could all debate. You know what's the best part about it, Sam?
What's that?
Is that the Devils could actually win some of these this year. So that's out right now on pucksandpitchforks.com. Make sure you check all those out. And hopefully, we're going to get back to getting guests again next month. It was a weird month with Christmas and the New Year's, and just Christmas falling on a weekend really threw things off for us. So we're going to get back to getting you some good quality guests next month. And everything will be back to normal. But Sam, let's into that.
I have a question for you.
What's up?
I'm kind of joking. Should there be a New Year's Eve Woo Report live, and we'll drop a puck?
Sam, you need more friends.
I know. I'm kidding. Heck no.
Uh,
I'd rather. You think I want to entertain people online on New Year's Eve? Jeez. Unless I get paid good money for it. Maybe, maybe,
yeah, listen,
maybe,
if you
maybe.
pay me
You know
for
what?
it,
Maybe we have like set up a Venmo account or whatever, and be like, all right, taking your donations for the Let's Go Devils podcast, so we
no,
can do fun
yeah, you
stuff
need
during 2022.
a Patreon is what you need.
Yes, that or you could PayPal me directly to my account, so I could go out and buy more stuff like a Mickey Mouse costume, or more paper bags over my head. I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyway,
there you go.
yeah, that's how we're gonna do it. Well, Nick, thank you for coming on as per usual. Those that are listening,
Thank you coming on for your scheduled shift on the Let's Go Devils podcast.
yeah,
I wish my day job was this nice. Thanks for coming in today. Appreciate
well, I
you.
appreciate you. It's not every day that you have a podcast where everyone's consistently on.
That's true. Not gonna get into that.
No, I was just joking. Those are just jokes. Those are just jokes. We're not naming names. All right. So anyway, I'm trying to look for. Let's see here. Okay.
The music is missing.
Yes, that's what I was looking
Where's
for.
the music?
There it is. All righty. Just programming note. Going to be flipping it over Devils After Dark in probably about 10-20 minutes after the game. Enjoy it, everybody. Also dropping the podcast later tonight for your morning commute as we head down the stretch of 2021. All right. Enjoy the game. Till next time, let's go Devils.